So, you think EU project evaluations are fair, right? Well, in this episode, we take a look at that evaluation process. It's relevant to look at it and consider who you are writing for when you write a proposal. That's the main goal here. We'll look at that, and then we take a look at the impact Trump's trade wars will have on research, particularly on EU-funded research. And we will also look into an open call, as usual. It's an Erasmus call aiming at integrating AI into education. Interesting. Finally, I want to talk to you about Europeia Red. Luis Fernando was here in a previous episode, and he told us about his startup and how it can help startups in Europe navigate this huge landscape of EU-funded programs. Well, this week, I want you to take a look at the video he just published. There's a link in the notes. It's worth watching for two reasons. First, you learn how Europeia Red can help you and your startup or your research. Second, you learn how to make a great pitch in 3 minutes. It's a great example. Luis Fernando did a great pitch. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Bye. So let me ask you something. Have you ever poured your heart into a proposal, put everything in it, and the only thing you got was an email with that polite sentence? We regret to inform you. Yeah, that kind of thing. It's happened to every one of us. It's more than disappointing. Sometimes it's demoralizing, confusing, and sometimes it really feels unfair, doesn't it? Well, the thing I want to talk about today, it's rarely about the idea itself. Most EU proposals don't fail because of the idea, because it's not good or it lacks value. They fail because they are written for the people who really matter. Who does really matter here? The evaluators, not the target groups. That's for later. Not your boss, not Ursula, the evaluators. Who are those guys? Who are the evaluators? And if you don't know who they are, how are you going to write for them? So let's step into the evaluator's shoes. They are not reading your proposal by the candlelight with soft music and a glass of red wine in the background and calmly reading. No, I've interviewed a few here in the podcast, and they are always on tight deadlines. They have a huge pressure for time, for objectivity, for being fast and fair. So they get a set of guidelines. They have the scoring criteria, as you do, and that's what they work with. Your text and those two elements. So they don't know you. They don't know your passion. They only see what's on the page, how well it matches the scoring grid, how clearly it matches the scoring grid. So they read your text and they have to answer the questions in the guidelines. If your proposal is less than clear, if it's cluttered, if it's hard to follow, if it might also be brilliant. It might be not vague, but if it's cluttered and hard to follow, if it's not immediate, you lose point. And you know, in this world, one lost point can mean the difference between funded and forgotten, yeah? Between success and that email, we regret to inform you. Well, that's a risk. So here's the hard truth. Most rejected applicants find it hard to learn from rejections or successes. I talk for my own experience. You get a feedback summary, and sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not that helpful. Many times it's quite generic. And without an insider's perspective on how evaluators think, you are left guessing. So how are you going to improve? Next time you'll have a different evaluator. So you're likely to make the same mistakes again and again. And it's not really your fault. Actually, you're not supposed to think like an evaluator. You are not an evaluator. You are a project leader, an innovator, a change maker, not an evaluator. That's exactly why I created this GPT. I made available for you guys. It's not a writing tool. I want to make that clear. It's not going to write the proposal for you. It's your evaluator agent. It will build your proposal by reviewing your draft like a real evaluator would do. So you upload your proposal, and it checks if it's aligned with the EU scoring criteria, if the objectives are clear and measurable, all the things that are in the guidelines for the evaluators, all the things that the evaluator will be looking for. And it doesn't just check if it's there, it also checks if it's clearly there. And then it suggests improvements. So it helps you write for the reader, the evaluator, and not for yourself. It helps you write for the evaluator and not the target group. So when you submit it, you'll do it with confidence, because now you wrote the proposal in evaluator's language, especially if you train your agent, your GPT, with your past proposals and evaluations. I think this is the best part of it. I trained the GPT you can get. It was trained with all my old proposals and evaluations. But you can improve the GPT with your own past proposals in evaluations in the programs you work more often with. I trained it basically with Interreg, Erasmus, SERF. You may be working with different programs, which may mean different evaluators. So this will create your own agent. I've been using it, and it's been making a huge difference in my proposal writing. So I would love to hear what is your experience. Hope you can share it. Bye. This week everyone is talking about Trump's tariffs, obviously. So we need to do it too, obviously, as well. In my opinion, this will be like the Clone Wars. You remember Star Wars? It was a new episode, right? This will be a new era, a new episode as well. Because 17% of global trade, that's how much the US represents, 17% of global trade is actually closing to the world. With tariffs like 100%, it's closing to the world. It's not Armageddon, not the end of the world, but it's not business as usual. It's 17%. So about the trade wars, there are many things in economic theory that are as well demonstrated in theory and practice as this case for free trade. In the 19th century, David Ricardo established it very clearly. With free trade, every country wins. If you cut trade, every country loses. This will happen again, so global wealth will actually decrease. But in each country, every country will lose, but in each country some people will win. And they will win big, lots and lots of money. Because whenever there are changes, and these are very big changes, whenever there are changes, there are opportunities for entrepreneurs. And this will happen in this case as well. So how does this affect research? If you're doing research in Europe, you probably remember Brexit. It wasn't that long ago. And what happened? A new episode, a new era, but life went on. And here too, life will go on. Some EU products will be less competitive in the States, and some US producer will offer similar products with higher prices than pre-tariffs, but lower than post-tariffs, which means they will have higher margins because they will have less competition. And you know who pays in the end when there's less competition. Nothing changes in that chapter. But on other countries, US products will be less competitive because of retaliatory tariffs, and the EU products will have an opportunity. And the same thing for the exports of those third countries. So there will be a massive supply chain reconstruction. Huge changes, huge opportunities, obviously. These new supply chains will be less efficient, let's be clear, because there will be some loss of specialization. But they will be more resilient because they will be built with more trustworthy partners. So this is basically a continuation of the same trend we've been seeing since 2000, since the pandemic. Supply chains being rebuilt with more focus on resilience and less efficiency. Just a continuation. And just yesterday, Ursula von der Leyen, I always have problems with her name, she announced that Canada is now an equal member of Horizon Europe. So, as I said, supply chains are being rebuilt. This is a kind of a supply chain in the research area. And life goes on. Post Brexit and now post Trump's trade wars. Just to finish this thing, in the 19th century, in 1817, David Ricardo published his main book called On the Principles of Political Economy and Taxation. Taxation was present, of course. And he used an example to make his point about free trade. He used an example with England and Portugal, clothes, textiles, and wine. So England was in that example more efficient in the production of cloth. They were more industrialized, and also in the production of wine. And basically, he demonstrated how free trade made both countries better off by specializing the English in the production of industrialized cloth. They have an advantage there, and specializing Portugal in the production of wine. More sun, so better wine. Actually, my point is, 200 years later, I don't know any English citizen, and I do know a lot. I have that luck of having many English friends. I don't know not one who would prefer to stick with English wine. And this is how I see it. So let me know what's your opinion in the comments.
Are you ready to shape the future of education in Europe? This is your opportunity to lead change at the intersection of innovation, digital learning, and artificial intelligence. The European Commission has launched a forward-looking call for policy experimentation in digital education and AI. It's part of the Erasmus Plus program 2021-2027, and it's your chance to design, test, and scale new policy solutions with real impact. This call is for projects that develop innovative, ethical, and human-centric AI approaches in education, from primary schools to universities. Think teacher training, inclusive learning, AI literacy, and building digital competences that matter. Who can apply? Public authorities or organizations designated by them. At least 3 public authorities from 3 different EU or associated countries. Partner with universities, research institutes, civil society, or the private sector. Budget? Between 1.5 meters and 3 dollars per project, with 80% co-funding from the EU. The total envelope for this call is a solid $12 million. Key dates to remember. Submissions open on 2nd April 2025. Deadline is 5 June 2025 at 17 CT. Results expected in October 2025. Projects start in January 2026. Don't miss this opportunity to lead the digital transformation of education across Europe. For all details and application forms, visit the Funding and Tenders portal.
InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles, is a weekly video podcast. Please subscribe to Polixox newsletter to receive every podcast episode. And if you like receiving it, please press like in whatever platform you are watching or listening. Also, please share InnovEU and Polixox with anyone you feel will enjoy it. Credits: author and host Fernando C. Gaspar, music Hugo Gaspar, Lisbon, Portugal, 2024. Reach us by email or DM.